banned movies. We all love the idea of watching them, right? Well, guess what I've got for you. In this new ongoing series, I'm going to give you a list of banned or heavily censored Asian movies for you to hunt down and watch. First up, I think I have a pretty good one for you. It's a horror film and it is banned worldwide thanks to Indonesian censors. It was really hard to get a copy of this film to watch, but very much worth it. Our first video is the 2006 film Pocong, and I think this film was terrific and a real shame it was banned. So let's check it out in more detail. Pocong tells the story of a man after revenge for the brutal death of his parents and the rape and murder of his younger sister by rioters. Set in 1998, during the political unrest of the Reformation era in Indonesia, a family who owns a small convenience store in a village tried desperately to escape a horde of rioters intent on destroying and killing everything in their path. A worker who was fired hours before the riot redirects the crowd's anger towards the family. The parents are separated and burnt to death in their car as they try to escape, while the brother and sister are trapped in the store. The brother is attacked and beaten and left for dead, and he can only watch in helpless horror as his younger high school-aged sister is brutally raped by the rioters. He awakes in a hospital full of anger and revenge. His sister, who has now died, has her body prepared in a shroud, and he is advised that he needs to release the rope that ties it closed before he can bury her body, otherwise her soul will remain on Earth. But he doesn't want to do that, and her spirit is unleashed. Full of hatred and revenge, he hunts down the family of the fired worker with the intention of killing them all. However, he's out of town, so he stays at their house to wait for him, plotting what he will do and how he will avenge the murder of his whole family, until the man returns just as he's about to kill his father and sister. It's a brutal film, very gritty, and the violence is all within the context of the film and its surroundings. But going off my description of the storyline and watching the footage in the background, I can hear you ask, what is the reason for it being banned? You may have noticed I mentioned that the film was set during a 1998 riot, which was actually a real event that occurred in Indonesia at that time and led to something called the Reformation era. Between the dates of May 4th to May 15, 1998, there were isolated riots in Medan, Jakarta, and Surakarta. Reading into the details of what triggered this event, it seems it was a mixture of things like corruption, the economy, food shortages, and mass unemployment. The main targets of these riots were the ethnic Chinese Indonesians. In the end, over 1,000 people died in these riots. And there were also over 160 cases of rape reported, as well as looting and arson, which caused up to $260 million worth of damage. So obviously, not the kind of event the Indonesian government would be happy promoting, even if the current Indonesian government was formed because of these riots. For a territory as politically and religiously charged as Indonesia, this seemed like a valid reason to deny the release of the film. A bloody and almost embarrassing part of the country's history shown front and center in a horror film. But not only that, it's the outcomes of the riots that resulted in our main character's thirst for revenge. And I suppose there's another element at play here, the opportunity for others to imitate the events of the film. The unfortunate thing is that this really is an excellent film. It feels gritty and professional, and made with a lot of attention to detail and care. There is some talent at play here with this film, both with the directing work by Rudy Soedjarwo, who is able to craft a harrowing revenge tale, and in the acting from all of our main leads. Talking about the acting, it's only really the peripheral and side characters that aren't that great. All of our leads are terrific. Sasano, who plays the main character of Wisnu, plays his role with an eerie feeling of anger that comes across so well on screen. He returned for the unrelated sequel playing the same character, which as we will get to shortly, was made very quickly to provide a return to the film's investors. The movie does exhibit aspects of low-budget filmmaking, and the camera work can be nauseating at times, as the filmmakers opt for a series of normal and extreme close-ups, which is usually done to mask the lack of action happening in the scene. The effort that's being put here can't be understated. The official story goes that, disappointed with the banning of the film, the producers and distributor of the movie, Cinemat, provided a small amount of money to the original director to recast the film and gave him 7 days to shoot a sequel. Confusingly, the sequel uses the same poster art as the first film, just zoomed out and with a rather crude 2 printed on it. No point wasting all those printed posters, right? The sequel follows two sisters who move into an apartment building where there seems to be only one other tenant and the building manager. The younger sister starts to witness a Pocong around the building, and the older one investigates its potential origins, when she uncovers that the other tenant of the building is actually Vishnu from the first movie. The building manager is the dead father, and in fact, the whole building doesn't even exist. There is a shift in focus from a revenge movie to just a plain old ghost story. The sequel reuses a small amount of footage from the first movie, carefully avoiding the riot concept to provide some backstory. For anyone who hasn't seen the original film though, it may not make a lot of sense. It does show signs of low budget filmmaking though, with the same issues of extreme close-ups and very sparse sets. All up, not bad for such a quick turnaround, but the movie is not a patch on the original film. A year later, in 2007, a third movie was directed by the writer of the first two films, while in 2019, he decided he wanted to reboot the series with Pocong the Origin, which unfortunately is the film that most people think is the first film in the series, since they can't find this movie to watch. So in the end, the movie remains banned worldwide because its use of a riot as its main plot device. Will the film ever see the light of day? My guess is probably not, which is a real shame as the film deserves to be seen by a wider audience, even if that audience is outside of Indonesia. Perhaps when the filmmaker retires and no longer fears any repercussions from the government, then maybe a restored version could be released. But who knows what the future holds. It's already been 16 years, nothing's happened. Thank you for watching this first video in my Banned or Censored in Asia series. We've got a lot more horror movies to look at, including a duo of movies from the Vietnamese director of the action hit Fury. Press like if you enjoyed it, leave a comment if you know of a movie I should look at, otherwise I'll see you in the next video.